Hi, welcome to Spotlight on the Arts. I'm Karen Stevens, your host for today, and today our topic is healing through the arts. Before I introduce our guest, let us introduce our Spotlight panel. Mr. Michael McKeever, actor and playwright, theater critic and journalist, Mr. William Hirschman, and actress and producer of Spotlight on the Arts, Miss Iris Acker. Our guest today is Miss Alice Billman, the founder and artistic director of the Heroines Choir. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Yay.
Can you tell us a little bit about the Heroines Choir, how it got started, and
Yes, of
how
course.
you heal through the art of singing?
Well, the Heroines Choir is specifically designed to empower and heal and invigorate and celebrate life with victors. Notice I don't call them cancer survivors. I really despise that term. They have gone through, they've confronted their mortality. So either you rise above, right, and you have a new appreciation for life, or you stay a victim your whole life. We're not about victimization, we're about being victorious. So these women are massacred physically, they're spiritually disabled, they're detached from their bodies, they're emotionally a mess. It's a very traumatic, I'm sure some of you know people with cancer on any level. It's a, you know, oh my God, I'm not gonna live, what do I do? So it's very, very traumatic for them. So subsequently there's this whole devolution of their system on many, many, many levels. So these women, this is the really extremely cool thing about this choir. These women aren't singers. They don't sing. They've never sang. Some of them do. They have a little background. They've done high school choirs, this sort of thing. But they're basically not trained singers. So imagine coming into this situation where they're sounding like, okay, let's just call them shower singers for the sake of, of not being rude, okay? And I hire a professional choir director, some musical directors, Annie Menendez, who actually conducts the Miami Children's Chorus and is now down in Homestead working with another school. She's perfect for the job because she works with children. So she's very patient with them and she's very loving, and she understands that, because I don't know, I mean, most of you are you know, professional artists, and you know how the ego can really sometimes get in the way of this cooperation. We don't have that at all. It's a very harmonious environment. So these women come in with their chemo brain. They can't remember one thing from 1 minute to the next. They're memorizing lyrics. They're learning choreography. They're keeping time. You know, they're actually learning how to sight read music. These are phenomenal things that they're experiencing, right? They're re-educating themselves. So subsequently, there are new synaptic connections being developed in their brains, which are overcoming this foggy brain, this chemo brain. So with that, oh, I can actually do something new. Oh, I can actually be happy. Oh my goodness. So there's this amazing feeling of love, of celebration in the group. We laugh our bahoonies off because we're always making fun of ourselves. You have to, really, at this point. The women age and range from like 30s all the way up. We've had some teens in there that come because they're moms or they have had experiences with it. So basically, the Heroines Choir uses this beautiful, you know, learning the art of singing in a choral environment to do these things. And we've had tremendous measurable outcomes. It's been going, we're moving into our 3rd year. This year. How
did you come to do this? Did you have a personal experience with breast cancer? Or did you someone in your family? And how long have you been doing it?
Well, I have an agency called Heroes United. It's a nonprofit agency, and we have a variety of programs that are all about healing, utilizing various art forms. Because when you really think about art, hopefully, as art. You know, I'm not talking about Kim Kardashian. I'm talking about like art. Okay.
She gets a lot of publicity.
But here's the thing, you know, the arts and the theater have become very, very commercialized. We have an amazing entertainment industry, a multi-billion-dollar industry in entertainment. And what is it actually doing? Well, there are various levels to it. Obviously, some are very, you know, aspiring, and some are just really commercialized. And the bulk of it, unfortunately, is creating diversion and distraction for our society at large. But when you think about art in its true sense and its true form, whenever you think about a cultural performance, what do you see? Singing, music, dance, literate, you know, performances, this kind of thing. So art is really the expression of culture. And going back even further, if you look at it almost on a tribal level, where there was drumming and singing, what were they doing? They were connecting spirit right? This was their way of maintaining their sense of humanism and their consciousness on this planet. It wasn't about da 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 da. It wasn't. That wasn't the original premise of art. This is what it has evolved into, and I'm not to demean that that has value in and of itself. We need diversion in the society. We need entertainment to take our minds out of what we have to go through every day. But in its original purpose, the arts are to raise consciousness, to lift spirit, to keep us whole as human beings. So with the Heroines Choir, we return to that and use the arts as that, which they're very, very powerful to do. Whenever you're like in a lousy mood or you're not, just whistle a happy tune, da, da, da. Doesn't it just invigorate you? You don't have to be an opera singer, you don't have to know how to sing, but if you just hum to yourself, the vibration of it alone lifts you. So there's a gazillion research studies about this. Yes, we have spent these millions of dollars to know that singing is good for your health. Yeah. Okay, right. Singing boosts your immune system. Yeah, of course.
Alice, let's talk about the chorale.
Yeah.
Let's talk about now that they learn and they're wonderful. So where do they perform?
They perform throughout Dade, and we started in Broward County as well. We actually just last Saturday we did Race for the Cure, which was for over 20,000 spectators. We just did a private pink masquerade ball, which was honoring Breast Cancer Awareness Month for another group. So we do small private functions and we do very large public events as well throughout the year. It's not just October. And it's not just for breast cancer. Anything that has to do with women's empowerment or art or fusing art and science or health. Because we start all of our rehearsals with a half an hour of Qigong. Qigong is the ancient art of breathing, as handed down to us through the Chinese culture, right? So this is also very, very curative. So what you're talking about on a physiological basis is that you're really oxygenating the system. You're dilating all the vessels, so things are flowing, things are healing. So this is the prep, and also we meditate to calm, because everything starts here.
We want to talk some more about that.
Sure.
But we have a clip of the chorale singing. Let's take a look at that first, and then I want you to really get into explaining to us what it is you do.
Sure, it'd be my pleasure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just let me stand for the record. You'll never win if you don't fight. We are heroines. I got all my sisters with me. We are heroines. I got myself brand new movies. We are heroines. Nothing's gonna call us free.
That was wonderful.
Yeah.
That was wonderful.
My girls.
We were singing along.
Yeah.
We were singing along. Yeah. But now, before we get into the technical part of it, do you have a background in singing yourself?
I have a background in theater, big-time theater. I was born and raised in Manhattan, New York. So, you know, New York School of Ballet, High School of Performing Arts, all the 9 yards, that kind of. By the time I was 17, I was already out touring. So, yeah, so yes. Oh. Very much so.
I want to ask you about funding.
Sure.
Money.
Money.
Okay, when you perform, when they perform, people pay?
No. We do this all for free.
Oh, but I see.
Yes, we do accept donations. It's primarily, this whole particular program is donation based. I'm having a heck of a time with grants because I'm used to cultural educational grants, and I'm moving into like the sciences, and they're having a very hard time figuring out where to place us. Because we've taken these two worlds and it's like, what exactly, how does this work? So but I do have a lot of, survey instruments, for example, that show, we do every 6 months, that show very specific improvement in certain areas with our ladies.
You were saying that you're interested in the results that it produces.
Yes, sir.
Can you give some specific war stories about how
Unquestionably.
this person or that person, how it changed their specific lives, anecdotes?
Absolutely. There's one woman who's actually an RN, because we do, this is not just for victors, the supporters, the caretakers, the
yeah,
families,
that
the
was a question
friends,
I had.
right? They're involved in it. And we have this one practical nurse that's with us. She's a triple negative, which is a very aggressive type of breast cancer. Actually, I have 3 in the group, which is kind of unusual. It's kind of unique. And she is very conscious, very health-minded. She swims every day, and she's, you know, she's really monitors her health very well. But she has not been able to get past her immune system constantly being debilitated. She had done nothing else except adding the choir to her regimen of what she does, and her white cell count went way up. Went way up. So that's like very real powerful results, you know. I have another woman that she has had insomnia even prior to her breast cancer diagnosis. And because of the Qigong work we do, the breathing, which now she practices every day, she sleeps through the night, you know.
How do you, I don't know what the word would be, recruit, how do women find out about your group, and how do they join?
Okay, so it's primarily through word of mouth, but I do go to a lot of breast cancer support groups to tell them about what we do. They are so depressing. These women are, it's so sad because they're talking, we're not, okay, in my group you're not allowed to show your stuff, to talk about your upcoming surgeries and this and your treatments. You're there just to really focus on being well. So the recruitment is a bit challenging, because a lot of women, they'll say, oh, choir, but I don't sing, you know, and they're already a little bit frightened about living as it is. So it's a bit of a process. So right now we have 14 very active women, but I have a list of about 68 that kind of come and go.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how many, how does that work? Is it on a rotating basis? I mean, when you have a performance going on,
Right.
do you have a core group that you use and then add and take away? How does that work?
Whoever's free and available. It's so no pressure. Nobody, they don't need more pressure in their life, right? So if you can make it, great, and generally they're all they're like little kids. You know, I have them develop pseudonyms because they get so freaked out when they go on stage. They've never been on stage in their life. So I have them create pseudonyms. That when you go on stage, okay, you're going to be Medea, you're going to be Amazonia, I'm Akimbo, and we have Nefarious, and all these. So they all have these names. So we really play with it a lot. So when they get up on there, they can, you know, have fun with it. But recruitment is an ongoing thing, and I really need to figure out another way to get the message out a little bit more.
What kind of audiences do you normally play for?
Well, as you know, in October, obviously, for the breast cancer awareness, so we'll have, you know, like-minded women like that. But we're very interested in going to educational conferences as well, which we do attend, where we demonstrate the Qigong. We don't always do the singing.
Let's talk some. I hate to stop you,
No,
but I
no,
will.
go.
Because even I don't know about that.
About the art of breathing?
Well, the Qigong.
The Qigong.
Is the art of
breathing, basically.
Wow, okay.
Basically. Have any of you studied singing?
Yes.
Yes.
So you know the lower diaphragmatic breath, right? You ever watch a baby asleep when they breathe, how that lower diaphragm moves, and then as you get older, you breathe up in here. So we're never really taught how to breathe, right? And it's very important to know how to do that, because all of your important nutrient exchange is going on down here, not up here. So this is about being, and when you sing, it's the same kind of lower breathing and control of the internal organs. So this gives you a great sensibility for that, and that's linked into...
So there are exercises, and it's some...
Absolutely. It's a very strict regimen of it's called Patwa Chin, of a half an hour of that and meditation. So it calms the system so you're open to receive new information and make it, you know,
Anything
excellent.
physical that you do?
Yes, we stretch, we warm up, we do the whole... They have to. Their body's the instrument. And these women, they're like, you know, you tell them side to side, and they're, you know, it's amazing.
How often do you get together and rehearse?
Every Sunday. And whoever can come. So not everybody is there I'm there every Sunday, the choir director's there every Sunday, and whoever can make it.
And
But
where
we
is
normally-
that located?
We have 2 locations right now, one in North Miami and one down in Coral Gables, because we have women coming obviously from both ends, so we keep switching them up so it's fair.
Is there a website or...
Yes. There
Okay,
is.
what would that website be?
Website is heroesunite.org. So heroesunite.org, you'll see this logo, the Heroines logo, and on there you have all the information about the choir, because as I mentioned, it's one program of several that we do through our nonprofit agency. And we do accept donations on that website.
And that nonprofit agency is Heroes Unite,
That is correct.
and it has other programs.
It has
in
other
addition?
programs that are all with the same premise, that we're healing, helping, empowering, utilizing artistic modalities or cultural modalities, like the Chinese arts, for example, for the children, you know.
You're bypassing the men. A lot of men have.
Who rules the world? The women. No. Well, if you look at it, let's look at it, historically. We're generally at the bottom of the barrel, and it's time for us to have some special recognition. So here we are.
I do know someone.
And I've had men with breast cancer
Yes,
call
I know someone
that
who's
want to
dealing
be
with it
part of
right
the
now.
choir. And I really want to welcome them, but we're still working on just making sure that those 2 parts will eventually get to 4-part. It's a slow development. Anything that of real quality takes time. It can't be wham, bam, there you are. And these women, I want to massage and have them evolve slowly, and they're doing an amazing job. They really sound good. Didn't sound like that a year or 2 ago.
But here, how did the whole idea come about? What gave you the inspiration to put this together?
Well, I know that it works, first and foremost, and I know how happy it can make people feel. This is actually a component of a larger production called Heroines as an actual 2-hour evening performance, of which this was supposed to be the finale of, which is a whole nother long story. But so the person that I was working with production, who is a breast cancer victor herself, who's a very wealthy woman, and we were going to get together and do this production. Within 3 months of working on this, it emascetized, went to her brain, lungs, bones. She was gone. So I was like, in honor of her, Mary Jo Garrity, wherever you are, we continue the Heroines Choir. With that feeling, with that spirit.
You've given her this wonderful legacy.
Yes, yes.
Now, do you have medical people that work alongside you to aid you in your?
That's interesting. I wouldn't have thought about.
Yeah.
Okay, so the whole premise of this is putting the wellness in the people's hands. I don't want to be politically incorrect or bring this onto the show, but I will. You've asked, so I'm going to say it. I have a big issue with Western medicine and being a very large business, money-based, not individual-based industry. There are some things that are obviously very good that we need, but there are many, many things. For example, they keep having them go back every 6 months for mammograms, which continue to radiate them, which continue to have the disease exist. Why not go for thermography, which is completely non-invasive? Because it's not going to line somebody's pockets, right? And it'll also give you detection 8 years in advance of what a mammogram can do. But these things aren't in the forefront because politics.
Right. But there are some physicians who practice homeopathic.
Holistic, you mean?
Or
Yeah.
holistic, yes, remedies.
Yes,
right.
but they'll still cut you in a heartbeat. We have a lot of, I also have a for-profit school called Kung Fu Connection where we do these Chinese arts, which is why I know them, because my husband is a master of over 40 years. So I have this wonderful, education, and that's why I share it with these women. And we have a tremendous amount of oncology patients in our school that avoid chemo, radiation, and all of these things with these types of practices. So I'm a firm believer in that. Now, obviously, if your leg is broken, you don't pray for it to heal. You go and you get the darn thing fixed. I'm not being unrealistic, but there's a lot that can be done, but the person has to be empowered and dedicated and committed to be able to see a result with that kind of work.
Do you run, obviously attitude has a lot to do with this.
Everything.
So do you run into people who are scoffing and who go, oh, this is just new age nonsense?
Absolutely.
And what do you say to those people
Have
who
a nice
go,
life, and we just go our way. I don't try to convince them. I'm certainly not going to get in an argument. That's not my place here. I'm just trying to help. And if you're not ready, or it's not your place and time, or you don't believe in that, it's like if you're Jewish and I'm Catholic and we're going to have it. No, we're just trying to be happy, healthy people. So I don't really address it in any kind of antagonistic way whatsoever.
But when, let's say,
I can't. I'm involved with these people. I have
Sure.
to be,
say you have somebody who's interested in joining,
Right.
but they've got some questions. This doesn't sound something I'm necessarily open to, but I'm
Okay.
interested in it.
All right.
Do you have something that you say to them to go,
Yes.
yeah, but you should try it, and
Yeah.
this is why?
Basically, that's it. Just come in and try and see how you feel. And 9.9 out of 10 times, because that has happened, some people with very heavy religious bent have an issue like with the meditation, for example. You know what, just pray during that time, whatever suits you. I don't tell them how to sit and how to hold their hand. I'm just trying to get them to quiet their system down and to take their heads off so they can be in tune and harmonize their internal energies, So it's a very, very good question, a very good point, but I am not into any type of conflict. I'm into harmony, so.
Is there a history, can you say, is there a history to this technique that goes back
Oh my goodness, yes. And I actually have tremendous amount of articles. Like when I submit for a grant, for example, I'll put in these wonderful surveys that they've done, that they spend millions on, to prove singing impacts the immune system. Singing dilates the vessels. Yeah. So it's very matter of fact. It's very scientific, quite frankly.
Gotten some very good publicity.
Yeah.
Yes, Miami
true.
Herald recently. I
Yes.
have cut it out. Of course, we're not going to show it up on camera. It's very difficult, but it's good. It has a lot to do with you and your personality and such. But it has been proven that stress can certainly hurt the problem, and relieving it does make it better. I mean, this
Unquestionably.
definitely has been proven.
Yeah.
So any way that you can relieve, that goes true for all of us, and we all suffer with
stress.
stress,
Well, look
especially
at the
in our
world that we
business.
live in, sure, but everything starts here. You know, your mentality dictates your physiology, you know. And so if you can flip that up, then you can really live a much healthier life. You know,
It's also interesting that you are bringing in not just people who are dealing with it personally because it's in their body, but people who are supporting people, either a relative
Correct.
or a caregiver. Talk a little bit about what they're getting out of it.
well, they're overlooked frequently. You know, imagine you're living with your spouse or somebody very close to you, and you're going through this trauma. What, you're not affected almost?
Yeah,
I mean,
they're pretty
you may not
stressed out,
have the
too.
physical, but you'll have the same emotional conditions as that person. Where do you go? How do you get help? How do you get assistance? Who do you talk to?
Yeah.
You know, there's not a lot of that going around, so that's very, very important that they're there and they're open to that, and that we're open to that.
Get them to sing?
Absolutely.
You do?
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Do you have partners or friends or healthcare givers with their patient? And I hate to use the word, with their
They're not.
victors working together.
Absolutely. Actually, we have 2 women that own rehabilitation management groups, and they bring in a lot of their patients and their
Right.
clients. So that's been really great. Yeah.
Now, are there any particular types of music that you
We do, as long
You
as
do
it's
everything?
happy.
As long as
We just want, now obviously we're not the Tabernacle Choir. We're not doing this kind of work. We're doing very fun-loving, celebrating life kind of songs, pop. We're going to do some Broadway stuff coming up, as a matter of fact. We do different languages because we have a very diverse group. A lot of
terrific.
ethnicities are represented in this group, a lot of age groups. So everything across the board. I choose the music based on how I know that they're going to sound best at this point in their development. It can't be too complex. You know, but we're moving in that direction. We're doing great. We just had a really great show. We sang 3 songs last Saturday, and it was wonderful. And we will have like a fundraiser in 2015 where we'll have our full repertoire, which is about 9 songs at this point. And we got to build it up to 12, and we're almost there. And we have some soloists. We have some people in there that are just naturally gifted, and they didn't know it. So it's, no, really, and it's so fun to.
That must be wonderful for them to discover this
yes.
hidden talent that they never knew they had.
Yes, it's like sing them. And as they finally come out, it's like, look at you, Warrior Rose. That's her
Another
name.
name,
That's
another
her.
name.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
her. That's what she. Yeah, Wonder Woman. We've got it all going on. It's really fun, but it's fun. That's the bottom line. You
Sure.
know?
do they also get to have a say-so in the choice of music? that
They
you-
make recommendations. But ultimately, it's my call because I have the bigger picture. I know what this is going to look like in 5 years. This is supposed to go national. We need different chapters in Florida.
What a good
Want to work
idea.
in Texas, California, New York. There's no reason, and then we can't congregate once a year, 200 of us. It's going
Talk
to be
about
amazing.
that. How are you going to achieve that? Or try to achieve
You
that?
guys are going to help me, right? It's challenging because I have a full-time for-profit business, and then I have a full-time nonprofit business with 3 programs, and not enough money to hire assistants. So it's going to be a long, arduous, but definitely successful outcome.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you're pretty dynamic. I have no doubt that
yeah.
you'll succeed. Whatever you set out to
Shrinking
do.
violent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you,
Oh, go
ahead.
on. No, you go.
Do you perform with your women?
I do. I do it more as a morale.
Sure, but I could see
booster.
that. I could see
Yeah.
your energy.
Yeah.
You know, working the other.
Yeah,
the other
eventually,
women.
you know, when they're like, you know, good 30 strong, I won't. But currently, yes, and it's fun. It's hilarious.
Sure. Sure.
You know.
Now, I know you said that, you know, you do the breathing, and that just real quick before we wrap
Sure.
up, but I know that a lot of healing is involved with the visualization, visualizing the body healthy, you know, bathe in light, pure. Do you do that kind of thing, those kinds of exercises
They're
with them?
given like handouts every month on various techniques and modalities. We only have 2 hours for rehearsal, half an hour of which is taken on the, so they're guided but not specifically. Because again, you have a lot of different religious beliefs, this sort of thing, so you have to kind of keep it very open, and they can go with what they feel most comfortable with. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I personally have had friends, associates who are victors.
Good.
Yes.
Get that word around.
Yes,
Yes,
I
please.
like that word.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I've also had people who succumbed.
Right.
So it's really nice to know that something like this is around and that they have a place that they can go to let their spirits fly free.
And
Absolutely.
everybody wants to be able to sing.
Yes.
And here she is telling them, you can, you can, you can.
And there's
How
some
wonderful.
women that really can't. We have some women that with such a heavy Haitian accent, we are heroines. It's just not going to happen, but they're still welcome and loved. You know, we just kind of put them towards the back. It's fine.
And tell them the website again before you go.
It will be Heroes Unite. That's HEROES, unite, singular.org.
Okay, and that is the Heroines
The Heroines Choir.
Choir.
The Heroines
The
Choir.
Heroines Choir.
You're all welcome. You can all join us. It's just really fun, you know. It's we don't have enough fun in our lives. We're all so stressed out.
You're absolutely right.
So we need to get together and celebrate life
Yeah.
through song, and it's
Yeah.
a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, yeah.
It was really fun. meeting
Very,
all of
very
you.
happy. And thank you for joining us today on Spotlight on the Arts. If you'd like to know what's happening in the South Florida community, please visit FloridaTheaterOnStage.com. You can find everything you need to know there about what's going on. Please join us next week when we'll have another very interesting artistic topic for you. But for now, let me thank our panel, Ms. Iris Acker, Bill Hirschman, Michael McKeever, and our very special guest, Alice Billman. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you guys so much.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
And thank you. See you next week.